Every hunting adventure at a different spot is an unforgettable journey into a world full of secrets and surprises. Welcome to another part of our exhibition, to the distant south of Africa. This time Przemek will be hunting curiosities, hidden in the African bush. After several minutes of wandering between completely dry trees, our PH began looking around carefully. The alarm proved to be false, however, and after a while we kept on walking. Suddenly we clearly slowed the pace and switched into a sneaking mode. From this moment, no single twig can crack under a boot.
Zachowujemy się bardzo cicho.
We keep very quiet. We're moving slowly because every now and then there are some antelopes, but not those we're waiting for. A moment ago we saw a springbok and a wildebeest. We are a bit worried because the wind begins to spin, which forces us to approach sideways, just like hunting in Europe.
No i te antylopy mogą je spłoszyć, więc trzeba się naprawdę po cichutku zachowywać, jak na polowaniu w Europie.
Once again we stop. A careful observation of the site doesn't work. Something had to scare the antelope. Perhaps it was our large team. Footprints on the sand indicate that animals were here a short while ago.
Pomocnik naszego przewodnika.
Our guide's assistant returned to the car. We made it back to the road through the bush. While hunting in Namibia, one needs to pay attention not only to the noises that may flush animals out, but also to very sharp thorns that are on everything that grows here, and they can hurt badly. They are very dangerous.
Ostre kolce, które mogą nam się wbić nawet w buta, więc to wszystko jest kurczę niebezpieczne.
Just counting the black mamba, we can meet here as well. The black mamba is a real terror for the Africans. It's one of the most venomous snakes in the world. Moreover, it's also super fast and aggressive. It can crawl at over 20 kilometers per hour and rise to the height of an adult. It's better not to meet it on your way. The creeping murderer hasn't appeared, but another silent killer has activated. The sun. Suddenly, PH calls everybody and shows something between the bushes. We've found a few local wild boars. They're just having a lunch break, so you can see the characteristic way they eat the grass. They don't lower their head but just kneel. We don't want to comment the way it looks, that's just a matter of taste. These lovable animals are under special supervision. A 2-year-long drought has reduced their population by 60%. Therefore, additional wells have been dug. Perhaps these deadly conditions made the warthogs not afraid of us.
Warthog, dzik dzikie afrykańskie.
An African wild boar, a warthog. Driven by curiosity, it came close. In the end, you don't often get to see many Europeans here, do
Nie
you?
mają pewnie zbyt często.
We've got other things to do, so we leave in peace. Recent dry years have been deadly not only for animals. The plants have been strongly affected by lack of rain. Namibia is relatively rich in underground resources of drinking water, but local living organisms definitely prefer traditional streams and little puddles.
Idąc przez afrykański bush, postanowiłem
Walking through the bush, I decided to stop for a moment in the middle of the river, but the river has disappeared. Well, now it's deep underground. In the dry season, every river in Namibia looks like that. But as soon as the first drops fall, the stream bed will fill with water quickly and prolong life in this wilderness. We left the car quickly because we saw running oryx. Andy's got his chance. Unfortunately, the wind blows towards the oryx. Well, we try to approach them from a different direction. We were very close again, but the dense bush prevented precise aiming. Here, a lot of attention is paid to the fact that the shot is confident and doesn't wound the animal. A herd of oryx has fled, but we will try again. If they didn't go far, there's a chance we'll approach them downwind. We have to be quiet. There's no way to sneak. It's now or never.
Mieliśmy już dwie próby, gdy Andy składał się.
Andy has had two chances, but every time something didn't let him aim accurately. The changing wind doesn't help us move to a better firing position. Additionally, we flashed some springboks out, and they flashed out oryx slightly forward. I think, however, we give up and go to the other side. After Andy's two attempts, we move to another place. We can see fleeing oryx all the time, but they are too young. Probably in a moment we'll go on another little walk to approach the game. Meanwhile, unexpectedly, instead of antelope, we came across small kittens playing with their mom in the middle of the bush. Even for the locals, it is not a common sight. Passing through the bush, we saw in the distance two more cheetahs with 4 young. They were very far, but the fact that I saw them with my own eyes in the bush is a great thing. I didn't think a cheetah is really that big. So it's not the end of the hunt. Now it's time for climbing up the hill, from which we can observe the area. We gaze at the almost completely dry bush with the hope that we can spot our oryx. We'll be climbing like this for the rest of our stay in Namibia. Thick bushes make scanning the area hard, but finally we managed to see a lone antelope among the trees. This beautiful animal is a waterbuck. You can meet them only in the sub-Saharan Africa. Slightly larger than our European deer, it reaches up to 250 kilograms. We won't hunt it though. It's time to leave our rock observatory. Unfortunately, after a good start, it's time for a little worse news.
Wejście i zejście na tą górę.
Climbing up and down wasn't so easy and resulted in some injury to my knee. It's not the way to start with.
Więc to niedobrze. No ale zobaczymy, jak to będzie dalej.
A little over an hour remains until the end of the first hunt. The increasingly annoying sun, which quickly rises to the highest point in the sky, reminds us about that. It's a proper African winter. After a very cold night and crisp, cool morning, now heat is pouring from the sky. The continuous hydration of the body is of great importance in such conditions. Apart from frequent drinking, a hat and a sunblock are also essential. And the most important, petroleum jelly. If you don't want to have mouth like a local rock, it's necessary to lubricate it. Unfortunately, Przemek didn't know about it before the first hunt. We've stopped because we've seen an oryx. Andy will have another chance. We're not hunting in a closed area, but in a 32,000 hectares of almost limitless space where the game can move freely. Shooting is forbidden in the vicinity of a well. While drinking, the guests must feel calm and comfortable. Otherwise, the animals would be afraid to approach waterholes, and yet these, scattered around the area, save their lives. At least the lives of those who managed to get here. Unfortunately, we turned back because the wind started blowing straight towards the oryx. There's no point chasing them for several kilometers. They would probably escape anyway. So after a few minutes of walking, another change of spot. Perhaps we'll only check the site which we'll pass on our way to lunch. Now everything depends on Olaf. Remember, however, that before the First World War, Namibia had been a German colony for several years. So there's no way not to stick to the timetable. You know what they say, ordnung muss sein. Tunnels built by termites. In winter, warthogs seeking warmth inhabit them, but Mr. Reporter seems to sense something not under, but on the surface of the ground. There must be some animals nearby because suddenly there are a lot of flies. The air is filled with a characteristic odor too. Well, let's trace that smell. And it may turn out that Mr. Reporter has a good nose, an African one. And as for now, Przemek smelled poultry. But poultry, although present in the local menu, is not on our hunting list. So we're moving ahead, following the trail of big game.
W buszu nie ma zbyt wiele miejsc, w których można...
There aren't too many places where you can effectively watch area in the bush. Therefore, PH assistant climbed a tree to examine the surrounding area. I wouldn't make it on such a tree, but our friend climbs to the top as if it was stairs. Unfortunately, still nothing, so we're slowly going towards the road where our car's waiting. On our way, we pass a large well at which you can meet almost all the local species. All of these wells we pass were built by the likes of our professional hunter, Olaf. The hunt with the guests is just a week from an entire month of hard work one needs to do on a farm. Construction and maintenance of irrigation, guarding hunting area from poachers, it's only a smart part of the duties of a professional hunter called shortly PH. Virtually all the inhabitants of Wild Bush use the effects of their work. Particular attention is paid to funny warthogs that perhaps were affected the most by the prevailing drought. As for now, the situation is under control, but in the long run, the rain seems to be indispensable.
What will you do now?
You move on, see, lunch will be like in an hour, so going slowly, or maybe we find something on the road.
Unfortunately, the antelope can perfectly avoid hunters. In only a day, we've managed to debunk the myth about the African safari. It's not as easy as people think. We've had a few hours of walking and only one opportunity to shoot. Fortunately, it's only the beginning. But we'll show you more next week in the next episode of Hero Hunters.